Here's what's happened to hinges. Hinges used to be like the one on the left. They used to be lightweight. A lot of times as you were spreading them, that little pin would rip loose, or you could reach down there, either cut it all at once or cut the top half, the bottom half. Pretty easy to take care of. On the right is your new style hinge. You see how much beefier that is. Extremely hard to cut. Plus, it's a design, rather than 2-bolt, we went to a 3-bolt design. We changed the way that the hinge is attached on here so that it makes it extremely difficult to cut. It also makes it hard to spread in the normal way. Typically, you'd go in from the side to spread the hinge off. Well, what happens today is that how many times have you been in there to spread a door and the points of your spreader just rip through the metal? So what we want to do is on your later model cars, it's more effective if you come down from the top. Instead of going sideways, come down from the top. What that does is it spreads the force of the spread across the hinge pillar and across the door. It gives you more surface area to push on, and it makes it more effective. It doesn't tear out. So you can spread that top hinge and just drop the spreader down to the bottom hinge and keep spreading and get it off the door that way. On this one, we started with the hinges, spread those off, and then we came back. Same thing, dropped down from the top so we had more surface contact, and then spread the rest of the door off that direction. So sometimes just moving the tool on a later model car. Typically, you've always been told that when you go to forcibly open the door, put the spreader as close to the nadir pin as possible. That couldn't be further from the truth on today's cars. The reason for that is, what's the biggest problem you have when you're trying to forcibly open a door today? You just start to get it moving and the door skin rips loose. Now all of a sudden you got a mess. You got just metal flapping around. As you see here, that's what he tries to do. As he's forcibly opening the door, from that point, right there the door skin breaks loose, and now he's stuck. Now he's got a mess. What he does, he goes back in, repositions his spreader, but you see the angle of his spreader is trying to push up and forward, so he's just pushing the door against itself. Then he wakes up in positions where he should have been all along. Right at the top edge of the door, pushing down and away from the vehicle. That's because right here on every door is a reinforcement bar that's in there. So when you're pushing in this position, you won't have the door skin rip loose. And the other thing is you get a tremendous amount of leverage against that nadir pin. You know, if I asked you to help me change a flat tire and I gave you a lug wrench that was only 3 inches long, how hard would it be to break the lug nuts loose? But if I give you a lug wrench that's 3 feet long, look how easy it is. So let's get up away from that pin, get some leverage, get to the point of the door that's the most reinforced, so that as we're bending it, we're rolling off and we can actually get the door to come unlatched. So you'll have a lot better luck on your late model doors when you start in that position. Here we see that we've used the engine to block the lane of traffic that the vehicle's in and one adjacent lane, with cones put out so that someone doesn't swerve around the engine and come back into the work zone of where people are working. They have their reflective vests on, and that's a properly controlled scene. We need to make sure that the crew that's working has protection. So we put in these blocks. We're not only blocking, you see we're blocking the one lane of traffic, and we're blocking the lane that the vehicle's in. He's got enough angle on the apparatus so that it blocks the shoulder, because so many times people try to get around the left side of you and go right into the work zone. So we're properly blocking all of the traffic. Here again, you see how we block traffic, we put out cones, and the crew is protected. We want to make sure that no one is hurt or there's no incident where someone plows into the scene where you're working. What's wrong with this picture? Yeah, the vehicle that should be blocking is parked in front of the ambulance. No safety cones out, no nothing. You just got a bunch of guys standing out there in the lane of traffic hoping that the cars get around them. So we need to have better control, better management of the scene. And then what's wrong with this picture? Yeah, one tells you go left, one tells you go right. So, you know, someone that just spent the last 4 hours at the local pub on his way home that's driving 80 miles an hour, he's going to really be confused when he gets there. And this is what I typically see. This is the typical firefighter controlling traffic at night, and a flashlight, and no one can see him. So we need to make sure that you're visible. You want to be highly visible to everybody. So we always have to have a plan B and a plan C. You also need to prepare for what happens if the tool does fail. If I've only got one cutter, one spreader, and my blade breaks, what do? You know, what's my plan B as far as tools? Here was one of our alternative plans. This is something we'll do tomorrow on a couple cars. We'll do that tomorrow. One reason that we'll do this is it looks cool, and the other reason is that you'll be able to look at the bottom of the car, see how the car is put together, and it give you a better understanding of where the car will bend, where the strong points are, where the weak points are, what it takes. What we do here is we'll simulate that the vehicle is on its side, it's up against a jersey barrier, the driver's pinned under the dash of the car, down on the ground. How do we get him out? So we basically did the same thing, only instead of picking the back end up like this, what we do is we take the front, cut through our windshield post, and we bend the whole front of the car back this way. And what it does, it just opens up that whole windshield area and rolls the dash off the patient in the front. So that might be one application that you would use this type of method for. And we do the same thing, only we do it in the front instead of in the back.